Chris, and we're in the middle of our Boundaries program. We're getting really close to the end. Tomorrow night's our last night of our Boundaries course with Lighthouse Leadership Psychology and Training, and we're running that course at Flame Tree on the Sunshine Coast, and we're looking forward to seeing you there. But here's your tip of the day. So we've been looking at boundaries and all of these tips and how to get our boundaries really good. These two tips are so simple, it almost feels weird sharing them, but they really, really help because sometimes we just haven't really thought about these things. Here's the first tip. Have you actually identified your needs? What is it that you need, or what is it that you want? Have you actually been in a boundary situation? You're having a conversation with somebody. It's kind of going like, oh, I don't like where this is going, but you're not really sure what to do. I bet you the issue is that you haven't really identified what you want or what you need. Now, sometimes some people, different personalities, need a bit of time to think about this first so that when you come into a conversation, you know that I need more time, or I really don't want to do that, or I will say yes, but only if the person is happy to do this. And so you're deciding what's your yeses and what's your nos before you get there for the conversation. But so many people go into boundary situations and they miss out on getting their needs met. And they don't get what they want or what they need because they actually don't know what they want or what they need. So have a think about it. When you're in a relationship and you're about to have a conversation regarding something where you want to set a boundary, something that you're going to say yes or no to, really know what those needs are. Now, the next step is to communicate these needs. And really, that's the art of boundary setting. And so if you want to set really good boundaries, then you need to be able to communicate these needs. Now, there's two things I want to tell you about that you need to communicate. Sometimes you need to share your feelings with somebody so they know what it's like for you. And that kind of communication might be like an I statement. So I feel like this when you do that. That can be really helpful as the start of a boundary, but that's not the boundary, but that's just letting the other person know where you're at. You might need to communicate that. I feel really bad when you keep telling me what to do. Something like that. And then you can say your boundary. Now, the next thing that you need to say in your boundary is what you're going to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a really good job of listening to you, or I'm going to, whatever it's going to be. And that's the second thing that you need to communicate. So first, you may need to share your feelings using an I statement. And the second thing is actually state your boundary. And stating your boundary is simple as saying is, I am going to do whatever. And it might be when you do this. And so practice those two skills. Now, a great place to practice this, if you're a parent, is to practice it with your kids. This is where I do most of my practice and most of my training. Because with kids, you sometimes get it, sometimes miss up, but it's a really good place to practice. And I don't mean that by, kids aren't really worth it or whatever. Kids are so worth it. But as you practice it with them, they'll be able to practice it with you. So it might be, do you know what? I feel really bad every time you interrupt me, so I'm communicating, and then I might set my boundary. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you two choices. If you interrupt me again while I'm talking, I'm going to ask you to go away for a couple of minutes, or you could just wait when you see that I'm talking, and then I would really like to speak with you very shortly. That could be an example of a boundary that you set with your kid. So practice those two things. Remember, first, identify your needs and your wants, know what it is that you want, and second, communicate it. And you'll find just using these two will start to build some trust in your relationships. It's really amazing, even between husband and wife. Just identifying your needs, communicating your needs. So simple, so helpful. That's our boundary tip for the night. This is Coach Chris. Great to be live with you here. Looking forward to seeing some of you tomorrow night at our last boundaries seminar at Flame Tree, 6:30 p.m. Kickoff at Flame Tree. And if you want to follow us more, you can check out here on Facebook or go to our website at www.lighthouseleadership.com.au, and you'll be able to see all the events that are coming up that we have for the rest of the year. So great to be with you during this series, and those of you who are following us on Facebook, I'll be in touch soon as we continue this relational leadership series. Catch you later.